If you've been having issues getting your Exchange mailbox set up correctly with AutoDiscover, especially on new versions of Outlook, don't worry, you're not alone. And in this video, I'm going to take you through the steps to get that sorted out. And whether you're a Fasthosts customer or not, these same steps will help you to get this service sorted. Before we really get into it, let's all make sure that we're having the same problems and that we're all at the same starting point. You've been having an issue with getting your Exchange mailbox set up with a new version of Outlook, specifically on Windows 10 and 11. You've checked that all the settings are correct and you've made sure that the correct DNS records are in place, such as your AutoDiscover record, but even though that's all in place, it's still not configuring properly. Well, it turns out that this is a known issue, and it's all down to changes that have been made, unfortunately, by Microsoft. Now, the latest version of Outlook, by default, does not allow you to use AutoDiscover to connect to Exchange services anymore. It only allows for 365 connections. You can instead install Outlook Classic, and that does allow for AutoDiscover connections outside of 365. However, there's then another problem. The default setup on Windows doesn't allow for these AutoDiscover connections to happen to anything other than 365, which means you have to actually configure Windows to allow these connections to happen. Don't worry, it sounds complicated. The actual changes that you need to make are very, very simple. So before we get started, you're going to need to make sure you have the right CNAME record in place. The rest of this guide doesn't matter if you don't already have that in place. So how do we actually check that? Well, first of all, you're going to need to figure out what the actual correct AutoDiscover record is for your services. If you have your Exchange services hosted with us at Fasthosts, then you can quite easily find what the CNAME record should be by going to your email package against your domain name. And when you're in the email overview page here, where you can see all your Exchange mailboxes, you can see up here that there is the AutoDiscover host, and this is the value that your CNAME record should be. So let's check that. Let's copy that, so we've got it just in case we need it. And let's go into our advanced DNS for our domain name. When this page loads, we just want to scroll down. And there we can see we have the AutoDiscover host name, which means that this record, this CNAME record, is AutoDiscover. Then our domain name. And then we can see it has the points-to value of autodiscover.exchange.livemail.co.uk. That's the value that we want for Fasthosts services. If you're not using Fasthosts services and you're using other services from another provider, you'll need to find out what that record should be from them. They'll have their own AutoDiscover record with their own point-to address that you'll need to make sure is put into your DNS. Obviously, you'll then need to change your DNS wherever you have that hosted, whether it's with us or elsewhere. Once you confirm that that's now working correctly, it's now time to go ahead and start the fix to get Exchange working. Now, I haven't got Outlook installed yet on this machine, and as I said at the start of the video, the latest version of Outlook, the default latest version, does not allow for AutoDiscover connections to happen except for with 365 mailboxes. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, click into our mailbox on our Fasthosts control panel, because we want to get to the download link for Outlook. We're going to click download now, and we are going to download the latest version that is available to us. Okay, once that has downloaded, we now need to install Outlook. Obviously, if you already have Outlook installed and you know it's the classic version, then you don't need to worry about this process. We will catch up with you in a moment, don't worry. If you haven't got Outlook installed or you're not sure if it's the classic version, then let's make sure that you actually install the classic version correctly. In this case, what I have downloaded, the Outlook 2024 64 version from the Fasthosts download link, that is definitely Outlook Classic. So just make sure that's what you're installing. If you're going through another provider, make sure that they're providing you that version. If they're not, then this isn't going to work. So you need the classic version of Outlook. So we're just going to let this install, and then once it's done, we can implement the registry key fix that we need to do. And once we've done that, we can then set up our mailbox. So bear with us a moment, and we'll get this sorted for you. Okay, so that's now installed. Now, before we actually go ahead and set the mailbox up, what we need to do is do a registry key change. Now, to do that, on Windows 11, we can just start typing in registry, and registry editor will pop up. Or alternatively, we can type in regedit.exe. And that will do the same thing, except we'll run it via command. So this then opens the registry editor. And now we just need to make a couple of changes in here. Now, I should preface all of this by saying that making changes to your registry can be disruptive to your operating system. So whilst what I'm showing you today is not going to do that, you're not going anywhere near anything that's going to be that much of a problem, just be aware that this is not somewhere to mess around. If you don't know what you're doing in here, please just follow the instructions that I'm giving, or that, if you're using another guide, make sure you're following their instructions. Don't deviate from them, because then there is, yes, a potential that you could damage your operating system. And with that being said, obviously, I don't take any responsibility for any damage that you do within the registry editor. If you are in any way worried about making the wrong change and causing damage, then I would recommend you make a full system backup before you proceed with this guide. So what we need to do is find the area where the Microsoft Office registry keys are located. So let's go into HKey current user, and then we want to go into software. I've been here before, so it's how it automatically expanded my path. But you go into HKey current user, then you go into software, then you go into Microsoft, and do all this, by the way, by just clicking the arrow next to it. That then expands a big old folder, and we want to go down to Office down here, then into 16.0. This obviously depends on the version of Outlook you're using, but chances are it's going to be 16.0. And then you want to go into Outlook. Now, what we are actually looking for here is the AutoDiscover folder, or in this case, it's actually called a key. That's what all of these are. These are all keys. So we're looking for the AutoDiscover key, which is not in here. Obviously, because it begins with A, it'll be up here somewhere, and it's not there. So that's absolutely fine. If it's there for you already, that's absolutely fine. You just need to edit that key. If it's not there for you, click Edit, then New Key. And I'm going to call this AutoDiscover. And the terminology is a capital A and a capital D, even though it's all one word. So just keep that in mind. And then you should be in the exact same situation as if that key was already there. So if the key was already there for you, don't worry, we've now caught up. You're in the same boat. So what we now need to do is go back to, first of all, make sure we've got AutoDiscover clicked here. Then we're going to go into Edit, New, and this time we're going to pick D-word 32-bit value. Now we're going to make two of these records. The first one needs to be called, let me go into rename. The first one needs to be called exclude explicit 0365 endpoint. And don't worry, I'm going to put this text down in the description below, so don't worry about having to try and read that on the screen. So that's what the first one needs to be called. And let's just make sure. I might be just being a little bit paranoid, but let me just rename. Okay, make sure there's no spaces at the end or anything, because obviously this exact terminology is important. And then we're then going to do edit again, new, D-word 32-bit value, so exactly the same as we did last time. And this one is going to be called exclude HTTPS root domain. Again, this will be down in the description below, so you can just copy it from there. So those are the two D-word values that we need to add to our AutoDiscover key. And now all we need to do is right-click, modify, and if this says 0, we need to change that to 1. So now we've done that, all we need to do is go into Outlook. Again, that says Outlook Classic. That means we know it's the one we want. And then it's going to ask us to create a new profile. This is because I had already had it set up and I've removed the profile that was there. So I'm just going to call this Outlook. I'm going to click OK. And whilst you could go ahead and click Connect Now, and it might take you through the Exchange process automatically, what I'm going to do is go into Advanced Options and then select Let me set up my account manually. I'm then going to click Connect. And what it's now going to do is actually give us all of the options that are available for this email account. So in this case, I want to select Exchange because that's what I'm trying to set up. Make sure that you allow the website to configure the server settings, because that's what Exchange needs to do. And then we just need to type in our password. Then I'm going to click OK. And as you can see, it successfully added the mailbox as an Exchange mailbox. And if I click Done and click into Outlook, that's now going to open up Outlook. And there we go, it's now opening Outlook, and it's just asking me to accept some stuff, which is absolutely fine. And you want to do all that because you're fully allowing your Outlook configuration to connect to the Exchange server. So there we go. We now have a functional Exchange mailbox, as you can see right at the bottom, online with Microsoft Exchange. So we know it's functioning, it's working correctly. So I hope that's helped, and I hope that's got you online with your Exchange mailbox. The main things to remember as a part of this are make sure that you've got the right CNAME record in place. You've got to do that before you check anything else. If you check that and it's all working fine, you're going to want to make sure that you have Outlook Classic installed, and I showed you where you can get that if you're a Fasthosts customer. If not, you'll need to check with your provider to make sure they are providing the Classic version for you. And finally, you'll just need to follow this guide to make the D-word changes, and those changes are relevant whether you're a Fasthosts customer or you're using a different provider. The same steps still function either way. So I hope that's helped, and bye for now.